Daniel and Marcus work in the same company, same IT department, same intelligence, similar work ethic, almost the same salary, but they live in completely different psychological worlds. Daniel has only $100 in his account. Marcus has $20,000. Daniel checks his bank account every single morning, sometimes before he even gets out of bed. Not because he wants to, but because he needs to know how much danger he's in today. Because in Daniel's world, a single unexpected expense doesn't feel like an inconvenience. Feels like a threat. But Marcus wakes up differently. If something goes wrong today, a car repair, an unplanned bill, an emergency, it doesn't collapse his entire week. It just gets handled. And here's the strange part. Daniel and Marcus are not living in different countries. They're not even living in different careers. The only real difference between them is one number. $100 versus $20,000. But what most people don't realize is this. That single difference doesn't just change what they can buy. Changes how their brain works. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The thinking time frame. Daniel and Marcus both leave work at 5:30 p.m. Same office. Same workload. Same exhausted feeling after a long day. But the moment they get into their cars, their minds begin traveling in completely different directions. Halfway home, Daniel gets a notification on his phone. Rent due in 3 days. And for a few seconds, Daniel doesn't even think in words anymore. It's just pressure, numbers, fear, and urgency all collapsing at once. Instantly his chest tightens. His mind starts racing. He begins calculating everything in his head. Groceries, gas, electricity, internet bill. Suddenly the rest of the month feels dangerous. And without even realizing it, Daniel's entire brain stops thinking about the future. He's no longer thinking about investing, building wealth, starting a side business, or learning a high-income skill. His brain narrows down to one immediate question. How do I survive this week? Because at this point, future plans don't feel realistic to him anymore. They feel like something other people do. When you only have $100 left, every expense feels threatening. Every mistake feels expensive. Every unexpected problem feels like an emergency. But Marcus experiences the exact same world differently. Marcus also has bills. He also has responsibilities. But because he has financial breathing room, his mind remains calm enough to think beyond the next 7 days. On his drive home, Marcus is thinking about whether he should take an online certification course that could increase his income next year. He's thinking about investments, opportunities, long-term decisions. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. Because money doesn't just affect what you can afford. It affects the distance into the future your mind is capable of seeing. Scarcity shrinks your time horizon. When survival becomes the priority, long-term thinking quietly disappears. And most people never realize that this psychological shift is happening to them. The financial decisions. A few weeks later, both Daniel and Marcus are presented with the same opportunity at work. Their company is opening a new cybersecurity division, and employees who complete a specialized certification course will have a strong chance of getting promoted. The course costs $1,200 and takes 3 months to complete. The moment Daniel hears the price, his mind shuts the idea down almost instantly. Not because he's lazy, not because he lacks ambition, but because his financial reality has trained him to fear instability. To Daniel, spending $1,200 feels dangerous. What if an emergency happens next month? What if his car breaks down? What if rent increases? What if something goes wrong? And later that night, he convinced himself it was not the right time. Even though a part of him knows it was. Marcus sees the exact same opportunity differently. Because his brain is not trapped in emergency thinking. He can tolerate temporary discomfort for future rewards. So instead of asking, "Can I survive spending this money?" Marcus asks a completely different question. Will this decision make my future better? And that single difference changes the quality of their decisions. Daniel's financial decisions are mostly defensive. He makes choices designed to reduce immediate pressure. Marcus' decisions are strategic. He makes choices designed to create future leverage. This is one of the hidden psychological effects of money that almost nobody talks about. When people live under constant financial pressure, their decisions slowly become shaped by fear, urgency, and survival. But when financial pressure disappears, creativity returns. Patience returns. Strategic thinking returns. One person begins making decisions to escape pressure. The other begins making decisions to build a better future. And without realizing it, both men have just made decisions that will separate their futures. Even though nothing dramatic happened. Wealth compounding. Few months pass. Daniel is still in the same financial position. Every month he tries to save something, but something always comes up. A medical bill. A transport issue. A family request. And each time he has to pull from what little he has. So instead of building momentum, he keeps restarting from zero. It feels like running on a treadmill that occasionally tilts backwards. Daniel feels unlucky, almost like everything is working against him. Meanwhile, Marcus starts to notice something subtle happening in his life. He completes the certification he once considered expensive. His income increases slightly. Not dramatically, but enough to create a small surplus at the end of each month. For the first time, he doesn't need to spend all his income just to stay stable. So, he does something Daniel cannot easily do right now. He reinvests. Not because Marcus is smarter, but because Marcus is no longer in constant survival mode. And here is where things start to quietly change. First, Marcus is building slowly. He is investing about $1,000 every month, earning an average return of around 8%. It takes him roughly 19 months to reach his first $20,000. From the outside, it looks linear, predictable, almost boring. But something important happens after that point. The next $20,000, making his total investment $40,000, does not take him another 19 months. Takes about 17 months. And after that, the next $20,000 that takes his total to $60,000 comes even faster, in roughly 15 months. Not because he suddenly started working harder, but because his money base is now larger. Once you have enough capital for it to start generating meaningful returns, time itself starts working differently for you financially. The unleveled financial footing. Daniel finally decides he can't keep living the same way. He cuts down his expenses aggressively. He becomes disciplined. And for the first time, he manages to take $1,000 and invest it instead of spending it. It is a big moment for him. Because this is the first time he feels like he is actually building something. At the end of the year, with a 10% return, Daniel's investment grows to $1,100, a gain of $100. He is encouraged. Feels like progress. Slow but real. At the same time, Marcus is doing something very similar. He also invests with discipline. He also earns a 10% return. But Marcus is not investing $1,000. He is investing $20,000. At the end of the same year, Marcus's investment grows to $22,000, a gain of $2,000. And this is where the difference becomes impossible to ignore. Daniel worked hard to make $100 in returns. Marcus made $2,000 in returns doing the same type of investment. But here is the deeper reality. Marcus's profit alone is twice the entire capital Daniel was able to invest in the first place. And that is the hidden imbalance most people never notice. The strategy is the same. The return rate is the same. The discipline is the same. But the outcome is completely different. Because once capital is uneven, even equal performance produces unequal results. And over time, that gap does not stay small. It compounds.